Yeah, it will give you a bit of understanding again, and it'll revise you on the understanding of what we have so far since Krishna started speaking, instructing Arjun in Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. Okay. So you want to, anyone wants to, has two screens? Anyone has two screens?
No.
Okay. So we will have to use the phone or something. Or if you have your phone, then you can open the database. Then we can read from there. It's easier that way. And we start discussing on the verses from 2.11. So I'll keep that right in front of me.
Where should we
And
start now? Which verse?
so 2.11. So currently we are, which verse are we reading? I'll ask you, Mataji. Which verse are we reading currently? Which verse are we on?
1 second. Go to the verses and
Last time, I mean last Sunday we were on a verse. Yes, Kalpesh, you remember? What verse?
22, 23.
21 or 22?
21, 22, I think we were working on both.
Okay. 22 is what we studied last time.
Yeah.
Do you remember the verse?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the translation?
I can read it and yeah, if you want to.
Yeah, the verse is Vasamsi Jiranani, but what is the translation? If you just tell me the translation. Don't read it.
Oh, okay. Just like that, Prabhu?
Try to recollect what we had. We'll start with Kalpesh, if he remembers the translation, not the verse, not the Sanskrit.
Prabhuji, last time, I was trying to fix this
issue. Okay.
Okay. That time, so I was like half here, half there kind of thing.
Okay. Mataji, do you want to try?
Prabhu, it was regarding the soul, like we change our clothes, like the body changes its clothes. Similarly, the soul changes the body.
Okay.
Yeah. Like every day we wear new garments. Every birth, soul gets a new body.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yeah. Okay. All right. Nice. So we will start from 2.11 and then we will reach up till 22. So in the process, we'll discuss a few things. So starting 2.11. So if you please open the link of 2.11 on your phone or open Bhagavad Gita book, whatever. Yeah. So I'll read. 2.11. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Ashocha Anvashocastvam.
Ashochan Anvashocastvam.
Pragyavadamscha bhashase.
Pragyavadansha bhashase.
Gatasun agatasuncha.
Gatasun agatasuncha.
Nanu shochanti pandita.
Anushocanti pandita.
So this is the verse where Krishna actually starts to instruct Arjun. The first verse, instruction given to Arjun. So just prior to this, 3-4 verses prior to this verse, Arjun surrendered to Krishna. So generally what happens is that we think that we are smart and we can handle situations by our own selves. We can work, we can have workaround, we can have, we can have permanent fixes to issues and things like that. We think that. But sometimes things are not in our control. We don't know basically what we should be doing. Now, Arjun here had everything under his control because he was an excellent warrior. He knew he had all the weapons. He could fight this war easily. He has defeated those people before in multiple events. So the last which he had fought just recently was the Virat war, Virat Yuddha, where he had defeated everyone single-handedly. So he had all the skills, everything he had with him. But this situation, he was out of control. His emotions were overpowering him. He was thinking about killing his own relatives. How can I kill my own relatives? How can I do these things? How can I handle this situation? So things were just out of his hands. He was not able to actually take any decision, concrete decision as to what I should be doing. And what is that when you're not able to make decisions? What is the issue we have? We lack clarity. Clarity, very important, not knowledge. We lack clarity. Arjun had understanding. He knew how to fight, but because he was not clear, he was not able to fight. So at any point of a time, in our lives also, the most important thing is clarity. And the clarity is given to us only if we perform proper yoga. Not if we try to use the luxuries or try to um, engage in the fruitful activities of this world. They will not give us clarity, unfortunately. So by fruitful activities means, I mean that not work, but the things which give us sensual pleasures, which gives enjoyment to our senses and mind. Things that we like to do. Now, you would say that, then what is life if we don't do things what we like to do? This is what the life is about, right? You earn money so that you can do the things which you like to do. Yes, correct. But let me tell you something. If you do what you like, you will, after some time, you will feel remorsed. I'll give you a simple example. If you like to eat gulab jamun, you have continuous gulab jamuns, you have 100 gulab jamuns, you won't be able to eat them. But if you have about 10, 20, 30 gulab jamuns, you will be remorsed. You will have problems. So if you do things what you like, then you may not like yourself after that. It's a very deep statement. Try to think. We like to do so many things. Someone likes to drink, someone likes to get intoxicated, someone likes to gamble, someone likes to do this, someone likes to enjoy in certain ways, do party, socialize this. But if you do too much, if you constantly do what you like, at the end of it, you may not be, you may not like your own self. Yeah. Yes. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So clarity is the most important thing. Not getting to do things what you like. That will not give you satisfaction. Clarity will give you satisfaction, and clarity comes by yoga, not by enjoyment, not by doing things what we like. Clarity comes when you surrender to the Supreme. That's when clarity arises. Understanding something is one thing, but clear understanding of something is another. Understanding something with clarity is another. Now, Arjuna's problem is he understands. He talks about a lot of intelligent stuff. That, according to dharma, I cannot do this. According to this, I cannot do this. This is not dharma. This is not shastra. He's quoting a lot of things to Krishna in chapter 1 and chapter 2. But Krishna, what he calls him, is just a fool trying to call himself a pandit. So he says in this verse in 2.11, he says that the one who laments is a fool. And you are lamenting because you don't have the clarity. That's what he's trying to say. The one who is intelligent, he doesn't lament neither for the dead, neither for the living.
Is it lamentation is not good for dead or living, or is it for anything that you do sometimes, you could feel bad about it. Is that lamentation as well?
Lamentation means extensive grief. Extensive grief. And that happens, extensive grief happens because lack of clarity.
I think I got this really very well. Okay.
Do you want an example?
I actually was lamenting for a while because I was made fool and because I did not have clarity.
Good. And the problem with us generally is that when we are not clear, when we don't have clarity, we try to cover it with confidence. That's the biggest mistake. If someone asks you to do something, say for example at work, someone says, can you do this? You're not clear, but because you want to show that you're confident, you will say, I can. But in the interim, it may harm you. In the long run, it may harm you.
Like harm in what way?
If things go wrong, if you're not clear, because any action when you do if it's to be done successfully, clarity is the fundamental for that, not confidence.
But Prabhuji, in today's jet age, like, having a clarity, for example, we work in computing, many of us. So sometimes we step into a work where we don't have a clarity until we start doing it. So how does that works?
That's when you buy time for clarity. That's called management, right? Buying time is management.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Time management is the biggest thing in today's times because time is expensive than money. So you have to manage time very well. And time should be managed to bring clarity. But people use time to manipulate, unfortunately. That is called politics. That's why you don't like management, because they are political. Yeah, does it make sense? Or getting too complicated?
Yeah, I'm experiencing it at the moment. So it's
Makes sense?
Yeah.
So management of time should be to bring clarity, and that's the best way, in order to get success or getting things done. So Krishna explains further. He tells him that you should not lament for living or dead. Why you should not lament, he tells in the next verse. 2.12. Kshitij, do you remember 2.12? On top of your head?
I think 2.12, it talks about the identity of the soul.
Very nice. Very nice.
Na
Yes.
jayate mriyate. I'm not sure if that's the verse.
No, not Najayate. You are right. It's the identity of the soul. That's
It's
correct.
12, 13 and
Every
14, I
soul
know
is an
very well.
individual. Is an individual and eternal. Natvevaham jatu nasam. Natvam neme janadipa. Nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamataha param. So he says we are eternal. Everyone here who's standing in this field is eternal, and they have their own identity because they are different. Natvam neme janadipa. Now you, me, or neither these kings, these all, they are eternal. They have been there, and never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So we will be there always, all of us. So all of us means all individuals will always be there. And that is a big relief. Yeah. That yes, there is something which does not changes. Yeah. The things actually in the material world also, if you see, like recently I went to India. I used to go to Radha Gopinath temple, and sometimes I used to just visit these places in the middle, going by local train. Just in the material world, there are many things which do not change. There is a movie in the 90s, late 90s, which at the time I didn't start my Krishna conscious. I used to watch all these. There was a movie which came up at that time, and I used to see the poster of that movie. And while I was there in Mumbai, I used to see the poster of the movie, about after 10 years also. Now, when I went to Mumbai, I went to Bombay Central, around that area, and I was going around. The movie poster still there. The movie is running 25, 30 years. You know what movie is? You don't take the name. So that movie is still there. I think now recently they took it off or something. I don't know. So I should say everything is changing, but the movie is still there. The cast of the movie is people dead also, and they have left the body, but the movie is still there. So things around us will change, but there's something which is not changing. Something which is the body. There is a very good book um, which has a lot of analysis on what happens to all the cells within our body, the chemicals, the body, which is made up of a lot of chemicals, the blood and all those things. What happens to all these cells? There's a book called The Human Brain, something by John something. You can Google it up. So that has it's scientifically proven that every 7 years, we actually is a new body. Our body changes entirely. All the cells within our body are changed. They're different. But so that means a person who is about 35 years old, so he has changed his body 5 times. The different body altogether. But if you recollect your time back when you were 10 or 15 years, you may still remember things. Like when I went to Mumbai this time, and I was going through there and saw the poster, I still remember 90s. So what is that which remembers the past, the body being new? What is that which keeps a track of all these things? Who's remembering all that? Who knows this? That's a question we should ask. Scientifically, it's a new body. The whole body is different. So I take a picture when I was 10 years old and now, totally different. Even when I was 20 years old, different. 30 years old, different. So what is that which is eternal? That's what Krishna explains in the next verse. 2.13. He specifically tells what is that which does not. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra muhyati. Anyone wants to read the translation?
Yeah, sure. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change.
So what is that which is changing through the body? It's the soul.
So
Soul is eternal. How peaceful is that if you just try to think that is something which does not change? Now, tomorrow, after some time, that movie will go away. But in front of that, I was looking at Bombay Central train station, and Bombay Central, now Mumbai Central train station. I still remember when I was a child, when I was a little child, when we used to go out of Mumbai, we used to catch that train and go from Bombay Central and go. And that train station still remains. So that I'm talking about 40 years ago. So that train station, so that has not changed. Everything else has changed. Yeah. And then even if the train station goes, if you see the train station, like I was looking at one of my friends, actually not my Shiksha Guru's father, he used to work in the railway station. And the railways, actually, he used to know the railway station, he used to work in the railways in a very senior position. So I happened to see a lot of pictures, old pictures when 100 years ago when the trains were in Mumbai. So when you see the one, I don't know, all of you are from Bombay? Yeah, Chetij, you're from Bombay, right?
Yeah, Pune, but I know Bombay.
Pune, Bombay, yeah. Kalpesh is definitely. Mataji, you know something about Bombay?
Yes, Prabhu, I've been and traveled a bit by trains.
Okay, okay.
Haven't stayed there much. Yeah.
Sure, sure. So I was looking at a picture, very old picture of 1869 or something, 1870. So when you have this oval Maidan at the moment, and then you have at the front of that, there was a train track. Now you have everything, you have KC College and this and that, all those different things there. Eros, all these movie theater and very posh area. It's heart of the, South Mumbai, that area. There was nothing there. There was a train station just going, and train station would only go up till Kolaba. There was no church gate. So the last station was Kolaba. So I was looking at that picture. I said, this looks familiar because I remember when I was in college in Mumbai, I used to go and watch movies in Heroes. And that theater is not there, but I can see that location is there. Yes. So that also changes. Even those things are changing. Yeah, there was sea in the front. Now they have a lot of, totally different as to what it was before. So even that is changing. What is that? What does not change? It's something within us that does not change. And you have to identify that, understand that there is something which does, and that Krishna says is the soul. It gives a lot of peace when you think that it's, I do not change. I'm eternal. I can still remember. Some people remember their past life also. I don't know whether they're lucky or unlucky. I don't know. Maybe someone was a king and now is very poor. If he unfortunately remembers, he can't get that money back and going to the bank. But so people do remember. So what is that which remembers? Keep a track of all these things. Even though the world is changing, the body is changing. That is the soul. You had some question, Kalpesh, on that?
Yes, it's like how all this thing originated in first place, like uh, why souls were generated in first place.
Yeah, Krishna tells that. Why do you exist? That is the next question. First, understand that who are we? Then we understand why are we. The problem is that who are we question takes a lifetime, maybe many lifetimes. It doesn't sink in easily. Who are we? And what is the nature? What is our nature? So understanding that becomes the first thing, because otherwise you will not understand why are we. Who, why, how.
I
The
think
who
chapter 3
is,
explains that, Prabhuji, right? Chapter 3 explains why are we?
which one?
The Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga. Yeah, we'll come to Karma Yoga later. But understanding who are we gives a lot of peace to ourselves just to start off. And that is what this chapter 2 is about. Understanding yourself, as to who are we. Have we really understood that we are this soul? Do we meditate on that? Do we meditate on this, that yes, we are eternal, we are not changing? Yeah. So the example, another example, my personal, I'll share with you how do we understand that we are the soul and how do we realize it? Because soul will always be in a happy and joyful state. It is always Satchit Ananda.
Yeah.
Always joyful. And something which is consistent from a long time or been there for a long time, the soul relates to that very easily because the soul itself is eternal. People find so much peace when they go to Himalayas, when they go to a forest, when they go near a river. Now, these places are there from a long time. Why does the soul is so joyful when it goes to such places? Because the soul itself is joyful when it understands that it is eternal. And that's what it feels when it meets an eternal. Jumps out of joy when it meets. If you go to a temple, which is like thousands of years old, feel yaar, bahut maza aa raha hai, so peaceful inside. Kitna acha lag raha hai. Because that is an eternal place. It's been there from 1,000 years. And your soul has the same quality. वो अंदर खुशी हो गया है. Joy से jump हो गया एकदम. It's very happy. And that's what you realize. That's why I feel very peaceful. Similarly with kirtan, with chanting, you feel, oh, I'm feeling so nice inside. Because Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not a mantra which has been set up now by someone, just like on a random thought. No, it is there from, it's an eternal mantra. It has come from the spiritual world. So an eternal thing connects with the eternal soul. Immediately you feel joy. Does it make sense? Yeah, that's the joy of the soul. Feel very happy, peaceful. That's what we should meditate on, to understand that we are eternal soul. And what does Krishna says? That you understand that, then what do? What is the act? The next thing is you start tolerating the other things of this, because the other non-eternal things, which are temporary things, they are not eternal, they are just temporary. Those things you tolerate. So he says in 2.14, Matra sparshast konteya shitoshna sukha dukkada agam apaino anitya stam titikshasva bharata. So titikshasva is you tolerate. What do you tolerate? What do you tolerate? Sukha dukkha. Both. Happiness also and distress also. You tolerate both. Yeah. You have to tolerate both. But generally, we forget Krishna, or we forget the Supreme in both circumstances. When we are dukhi, when we are lamenting, or when we are in pain, we are so much engrossed in the pain that we forget Krishna. We don't remember the Supreme. And on the other hand, when we are very happy, we again forget Krishna. There was a time I remember when I was traveling in a flight. And as soon as the flight was about and it took off, there was some severe turbulence. And the captain just said that, there are heavy turbulences, so please hold yourself tight. Everybody started praying. And there are some devotees also at that time. I remember they did Narasimha Aarti, proper Narasimha. Namaste Narasimhaya. Sammayana Kartal also. So so much worried that Narasimha Dev, please help us so that we reach safely and everything goes fine. This, that, and fortunately everything went fine and the flight landed. But after the landing, nobody says anything. बाद में कोई prayer नहीं है. Reality check. Nobody prays because you're happy. And when you're happy, in the happiness, you forget Krishna. And you get temptations at that time. You do things which enhance that mode which you are in. That's what Krishna is telling you. Tolerate your happiness also. Very difficult. Not easy to tolerate happiness. Because in sorrow, in pain, we might somehow be able to remember Krishna, because it's pain. You tell Krishna that please help me. But in pain also, sometimes we are too much engrossed in the pain that we forget everything, and we are too much attached, overthinking the pain itself, the problem itself. Sometimes the problem is the same that we are thinking. Otherwise, actually, there is no problem. It's just the thought is the problem. And at the same point, if you can take the shelter of Krishna, you get clarity, and that helps you relieve the pain. But that you have to tolerate. You have to tolerate the pain. Now, I remember when I was again in the local train, when I was in the morning, I used to chant and go to Radha Gopinath temple. I used to catch a train at about, I think, 4 o'clock or so that I can reach at 5:30. So it's a 1.5 hour of train journey from where I was till Radha Gopinath temple, which was in the city, which was CST, Chhatrapati Shivaji terminus now, previously Victoria terminus. So while traveling, I used to see people in the morning. There were quite a few people in the morning as well. And most of them being on the phone and stressed, so much on the phone, stressed, just being on the phone. And I also used to see a few old people. Once I saw a couple, old Bhori Musliman, sitting there around 65, 70 years of age, and his wife also wearing, something like, covering her thing. And they were like sitting down, no phones, nothing. And they were just half smiling, happy, relaxed. So when you embrace, the pain, when you accept the pain and just accept it as it is, you may be more peaceful than diverting yourself into something else like a phone or something else to relieve that pain. So you may be better off watching a movie when you are peaceful rather than watching a movie to get peace. Yeah, the situation, stressful situation, you want to divert it and you go and do something. Watch something on the TV, go do something, catch a party or something to that. No, you should embrace that pain. You should accept that pain. You'll be better off with that. That there is a peace within the pain, the center, if you can find it. And you will be, I can guarantee you, you will find that. And that comes by clarity, by understanding. I'll give you a personal example. Recently, again, went through a situation. It's just been in the last week. So I was not able to communicate with the person in the office. I wouldn't take the name of the person, but I wouldn't be able to communicate with the person. I wasn't able to understand what he's speaking. Now, and he explained so many things, and actually he asked me to do something based on the discussion I had with him. So he gave me 2 hours of discussion I had with him, and trust me, I didn't understand a single word. And I couldn't tell him because it's an offensive thing to say someone, I couldn't understand you. In office is here. So you can't tell I don't understand you. I can't even tell someone else I don't understand him. I will be the bad person. I have to frame it in such a way that is. But somehow I accepted that. I said, okay, let me handle this. And then I actually personally, I spoke to a few colleagues of mine. And I understood that person has actually gone through a severe surgery around his neck, around his throat and everything. That's the reason he's not able to speak properly. My whole perception changed. That's what I call clarity. Now I see him with more compassion. And I involved the other guy, other colleague of mine, and he came forward. He said, don't worry. I have been with that person for about 3 years now. So I understand exactly what he says. So I will sit with you and him, and I will understand everything, and I will be the mediator, and I'll explain you. And that happened After the pain came to me, and I had to do some stuff on Monday, and all came through the weekend. And at the time, what I was doing, I was actually went to do kirtan at a place last night, and that's where the clarity came in. You should go and speak to someone. Although it's not good to speak to the office guys on weekends, but somehow I just called, and it helped. So you have to accept the pain. Don't divert yourself out of the pain into something else. People drink. People take the shelter of lust. People go and socialize, somehow trying to avoid that pain, avoid that situation or avoid that thought. Embrace it. Embrace the pain. Tolerate it. That's what Krishna says. Dukkha. Accept it. No problem. But the understanding, the meditation is on that we are eternal. We're not this body. So we just have to tolerate this and focus there. Easy said than done, but yes, you will get a lot of peace if you're able to embrace the pain. That is 2.14.
On that point, I think that's a very, very well explained again, because we have discussed this verse at least I won't say minimum 5, more than 10 times.
Yeah.
And this tam stitikshasa word, I believe, even if we follow that, we'll be a totally different person altogether.
Yeah.
I've been trying to do that. Unfortunately, at home, it hasn't changed. But of course, at office, people say, okay, no matter what situation is, you're very patient and calm and quiet. But at home, it has not happened.
And that's a very important thing, Kshitij. I'll give you an example on that one. If you're able to handle that happiness also and be at equilibrium, there is a verse in, I think, one of the Acharya's thing in 64 effects of bhakti. The 11th thing is that you be in equilibrium. The one who remains in equilibrium is highly respected, very highly respected. So someone, if there's a very exciting moment, yeah, and people are able to maintain their calm, they're highly respected. I'll give you an example. In 1983 in the World Cup, our captain was Kapil Dev. He won the World Cup. And when he won the World Cup, he picked the World Cup in his hand, gave it to the, very calm. He gave it to the team and this, that. He was not jumping around everywhere. I've heard that he went to the dressing room back and he drank milk. दूध पे
Yes,
जाके वो
very true.
दारू नहीं दिया. So that's the reason he's respected, being very, very normal and doing very basic things at the time of highly excitement events. Winning a world from India. India was, 83 cricket team didn't have so many resources, and that too he won the World Cup at that time. It was a big thing. He could have been jumping everywhere, but he kept himself very good. That's the reason he respected. So person, it's very difficult to handle happiness. But if you are at equilibrium during that, then you are successful. That's what Krishna explained. So he further confirms in the next verse, it is 2.15. Yam hina vyathayantyete purusham purusharshaba samadukka sukham dhiram somaratattvaya kalpate. So what happens with that person? Best among Arjun, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is ready or steady, not ready, steady in both, is certainly eligible for liberation. His consciousness of that person is high. It's elevated. So he's become almost eligible to liberate, as Krishna says. How good is that? Yeah. So working towards acceptance of the distress, acceptance of the happiness, and keeping yourself at the equilibrium can actually lift your consciousness up. That's what Krishna says. Further, 2.16. He says, Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah, ubhayorapi drishtontas, tvanayos tattvadarshibhi. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent there is no endurance, and of the eternal there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. So those who are in that equilibrium, who are understanding the nature of this external distress and happiness, they are able to keep themselves in, and they are the ones who can see the truth, and they can identify that the non-existent, that means the material body, there is no endurance, that means doesn't continue for longer, it has an end, and eternal, there is no change. So the soul does not change at all. It is always in the same state of Satchit Anand, the nature of the soul. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. So not just soul, but the body also has to be understood, has to be studied. That is the reason we have to accept the pain, so that we understand what this body is, understand what this mind is, accept the happiness and be in equilibrium, so that understand what the mind is, understand what the soul body is. Yeah. So you have to understand the nature of the body, mind, and soul, and then that is called self-realization. It's not just spirituality, but the external part also. You have to understand the nature of the bone. So Arjun was crying when Abhimanyu died. So it's not that you don't have to bring out your emotions when you're distressed. I'm not saying that, but you have to accept that. Don't divert yourself to something else by running away from the situation, not accepting the situation. Yeah. So there is a difference between doing and being. Yeah. So you do something when you are in stress. No, you be in that situation. They're two different things. So if you are stressed, you go watch a movie, you're doing something in that stress situation. People will tell you, change your mind, do something, go for a holiday, forget this, and that is running away. No, accept it. Embrace that situation. Accept the pain. And find peace within that pain. That's what Krishna is talking about. Yeah. Very deep, but it works. Next verse. He says, 2.17, Avinashi tu tadvidhi yena sarvavidam tatam vinasham avyayasyasya na kaschit kartum arhati. That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. So he constantly talks about the same. Now, since you understand the nature of both, that soul is indestructible, the one which remains in the same state. And why is he telling him all that? What is the reason of telling him all that? The soul is indestructible, or soul is eternal. Why is he telling him that?
That he should not lament and handle the situation
And
fight.
exactly. So that comes up in the next verse. He says that 2.18. So that's instruction from Krishna. He says that Antavanta ime deha nityasyoktaha sharirinaha anashino aprameyasya tasmad yudhyasva bharata. So the material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity, that's a soul, is sure to come to an end. Material body will end. Therefore, why to lament? Therefore, fight. Yeah, that's clarity. Yeah, that's clarity. So who can provide clarity? It's Krishna. There is no way we can get clarity. I'll just share something with you. So this is something I got a small gift from one of my very dear, Shiksha gurus from Radha Gopinath temple. His name is Anand Vrindavan. So if you Google or YouTube, you may be seeing a lot of videos which come from Anand Vrindavan Prabhu. Okay, he also is from ISKCON Chopati. He is very practical. He's a grahastha. He's got family, and I think he still is practicing that. He had his own share broking agency, and at Dalal Street, Mumbai, from 80s, 90s. So he has seen the ups and downs of all those big, crashes and all those things in the share market. So he has sailed through everything. He's a very successful businessman, very rich also, but a very, very humble and a fantastic devotee. I mean, being with him for just 5 minutes gives me, a lot of energy out from it. It comes in one day. Somehow I used to go and meet him. I met him three, four times when I was in Mumbai. Somehow, so he gave me this. I'll share this with you. So I think I have shared this on the group also, a PDF file. So these are the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. The picture is taken at the time of Radhashtami. Happens only once in a year in Vrindavan. Otherwise, you cannot see the feet of the deities. So he told me that when you are in pain and when you chant, think about Krishna. A father generally, is a strict person. So he may not forgive you if you have done something wrong. And then asking for forgiveness and things like that. But the mother, she forgives you and relieves you from the pain instantly. So go to the mother. She will tell the father and he will instantly act on it. So whenever I chant, so he gave me a very big guru mantra that when you chant and think about the lotus feet of Radharani and chant, because she will tell Krishna to help you. You cannot go directly to Krishna, unfortunately. Something I learned after 10 years. You'll get pain, but it will be less. Because mothers are more caring than the fathers. We know all, right? I think I've shared this picture with all of you. Just check in the thing. Have I? If not, I will share it today. So look at the feet when you have these pain and you have these troubles, when you have this situation you can't handle, not able to make a decision based on clarity. So confusing things, something not under our control. We can't do stuff. The hair of the body start coming up, body gets warm, heated, difficult situations. We all have that. Yeah? What do? Not able to control the situation. Done everything which I could, but can't control the situation. Think about the lotus feet of Radharani and chant. I can guarantee you, one day, things gone. Problem solved. Clarity will be in your mind. You'll know exactly what to do. And don't act when you are in that distress mood. Like, for example, it's not that, that because I'm reading Bhagavad Gita, doing kirtana, chanting, that I don't get angry. Of course, there's a lot of anger which comes out when there are situations which can't handle. But don't react at that time. Try to respond. Generally, what I do, this also I learned from one of my Shiksha gurus, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. So he gave me this, suggestion. And he does that. So I started seeing him and just copying him. So whenever I'm angry at someone or can't handle the situation, just something, I write an email to that person. Very strong email. Maybe officer, someone whom I know, anything. I just a very strong email I write, but I don't hit the send button. Everything I can tell, I will write that person. I will not hit the send button though. I'll write it and keep it. It will be in my drafts. Give it 24 hours. 24 hours. Next day. Go to that email again Of course, within the 24 hours, you will have some time to take shelter of Radharani's feet and do some thought and meditate on her feet and chant. After 24 hours, just have a look at that email. You will have the clarity whether you want to send it or amend it and send it. Everything will be clear. Actually, I drafted an email yesterday on the anger and didn't send it. After the kirtan, I came back. I didn't edit or send it. I just deleted it. Because other hurdles were automatically cleared. So I didn't have to actually send that. It's a live example. I'm just sharing with you. Do not react. Respond. Respond after taking shelter. So Arjuna has already taken the shelter. And then now Krishna is asking him to fight, to act. Now you got the clarity, right? Isn't that clear? Now Krishna says further, explains him on the soul. Just to emphasize. Yavenam veti hantaram. Yaschena manyate hatam. Ubhau tau na vijanito. Nayahanti nahanyate. Can someone read the translation of this one? Which one is this? Which verse is this?
2.19.
Yeah.
Neither he who thinks the living entity, the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge. For the self slays not, nor is slain.
Read the next one also. 2.20. Najayate mriyate va kadachin. You want to repeat this?
Yes, sure. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन्
Nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah.
नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः.
All of you just repeat. I mean, not just Chitit. Yeah. Want to start it again? Yeah, please unmute yourself. Na jayate mriyate va
Mriyate va
kadachin.
kadachi. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचि
Nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah.
नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः
अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो
अजो नित्य शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो
न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
Read the translation. Yeah, Mataji,
Right?
go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is
When the
slain.
body is slain. Read the next one also. 21. Please repeat after me. Veda vinasham nitya. Veda vinashinam nityam.
Veda vinashinam nityam
Ya enam ajam avyayam.
na ya enam ajam avyayam
Katham sa purushah partha.
katham saha purusha partha
Kam ghatayati hantikam.
kam ghatyati hantikam.
Yeah, please read the translation. Kalpesh, you want to go?
Sure. Sorry, I kept myself on mute. I was not.
That's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, let me read that.
20.
O Parth, how
21,
can,
sorry.
yeah, O Parth, how can a person who knows that soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill?
More clarity. Gives more clarity. How can a person who knows that? So one who understands this. Have you understood that you are a soul? Question. Have we understood that we are a soul? Big question. If we understand that, then there is no confusion. Then you can't kill anyone or cause anyone to kill. That doesn't make us, okay to kill anyone. This is Krishna's instructions to kill, that's the reason Arjun is doing it. So how do we get instructions? Because we have inbuilt Krishna inside us, which comes along with it. It gives us the feeling, the instinct of doing things. 2.22. Please repeat after me. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya
Vasamsi
जीर्णानि
जीर्णानि
यथा
यथा
विहाय
विहाय
navani grahणati naroparani
नवानि
नवानि
गृह्णाति
गृह्णाति
नरोपराणि
नरोपराणि
तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णान्य
तथा
तथा शरीराणि
शरीराणि विहाय
विहाय
जीर्णा
जीर्णानि
अन्यानि संयाति नवानि तेहि.
अन्यानि
अन्यानि
संयाति
संयाति
नवानीति.
नवानि देति.
Translation.
As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones.
Furthermore, Krishna says that you change your bodies. You transfer from one body to another after the body is given up, just like you change the old clothes. That's how the soul accepts a new body. So there is no need to lament. There is no reason to lament. Yeah. So that gives the understanding from 2.11 to 22. And this is predominantly the understanding of soul. So that's the conclusion of today's discussion. If you have any questions or comments, please ask. We will do 2.23 next week. Very important verse. You would have heard this verse quite a few times. Nenam Chindanti Shastrani. So we'll discuss about that next week. Next week, not next week, next to next week, sorry. Next week again is a long weekend. Not a long weekend, but people might take like how I am taking a day off on the 24th, making it a long weekend. Next weekend, I think next to next Tuesday is Anzac Day.
Anzac.
26th. So I will not be here. I'll be traveling. So we can discuss 2.23 the week after next. Yeah. Any questions or comments? For another 5 minutes or so, if you want to discuss anything or ask any question.
Prabhu, just wanted to ask, like you shared that you read that email and you wrote an email,
Yeah.
and you waited for 24 hours. So similar thing happened with me, Prabhu, where something happened and I wanted to write an email. I didn't even write it, but I waited 24 hours. And after that, I didn't write and I was not even bothered.
Wonderful.
So I was just thinking, like we read Bhagavad Gita and we are more calm and composed now. But still, when something happens, like, we really get angry.
Yep.
And then it takes us 24 hours to get back to normal. So, Prabhu, so like by attending classes, reading, and by doing chanting, is it that slowly we'll come to the levels where that will not happen and like we can be more controlled in our
Yep.
emotion? Right?
Yep. Yep. more peaceful over a period of time. So if you see the uh, if you see, how the trough and crest, the graph is, when you see the
Yeah.
cardiogram, it goes like this. So even with us, we have the desires, and, greed, lust, anger, and the other emotions which happen and struck to us when there are situations. So there are temptations and there are turbulences. This is how the trough and crest works. So you are tempted to do something, your desire, you can't control, you do that, and it's not right. You don't want to do it because you were tempted, you did it. And there are turbulences, there's circumstantially something happened, some turbulence happened, and you went into that. Say, for example, someone lost someone, or someone had a big disaster in his life, so started drinking. So those are turbulences. You take some wrong steps in that. So that happens quite frequently when you are not in the yoga ladder, on the yoga ladder. You are on the bhoga ladder. So when
Right.
you are doing a lot of uh, you know uh, sense sense pleasures, like enjoying, like what you like to do what you like to do, and all those things. When you do those kind of things wherein there is no bhakti involved, and you do other bits and pieces, there will be more troughs and crests. So you may have you may do something which is not legitimate, not ethical at times, and you do something else. You do something wrong, get angry, they take the shelter of love, or do intoxicated. All those things you may do more frequently. That frequency will reduce when you do spiritual
Hmm.
activities, when you do bhakti. So those will reduce. They'll be like this first, and then go like this, and this, and then this, and then so there'll be reduction of that. Slowly you will be able to, when you chant more, when you do spiritual practices, read Bhagavad Gita, you'll find that you are slowly responding to situations, not reacting immediately. Anger is there, it's not gone to 0, but it has gone from 10 to say 8. You're not getting agitated quickly, or even if you're getting agitated, you're calming down quickly. So that difference you will feel. The barometer is your own self. You'll be able to realize that they're coming down, and slowly you will be able to reach at a point when you will only take shelter of Krishna, when you'll only do bhakti. That is the ultimate uh, goal.
Right, Prabhu. Like the thought process was totally different. After 24 hours, I was thinking, why was I even bothered? Not angry. Why was I even bothered to
Yeah,
write that? Because
yeah,
nothing will change. It's only
yeah,
me who can deal with it.
yeah,
So I'm like, what was I doing?
yeah.
So after
This
24
is
hours, I was really laughing at myself. There
very
was no
good thought.
reason to get angry.
Yeah, yeah,
Good, I didn't send the email, and
yeah, yeah,
because I didn't react, but then I
yeah,
responded in a very good way later on, and
yeah,
it worked for me very well.
yeah, yeah. Actually, the problem or the solution, everything is within us. There is nothing outside.
Very true, Prabhu. Peace is also within inside, Prabhu. It
Within us,
doesn't matter
everything is inside.
where
There's
are
nothing
we, it
outside.
doesn't matter who are we with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think
It's
slowly,
what do we
yes.
connect with is most important.
Very
Like
true.
last night, with a group of devotees, when I was there, the association, chanting and dancing and having prasad, totally different thing, totally different feeling. So what a soul, the soul is joyful, ecstatic, happy,
Very true, Prabhu.
and that's where you get clarity. That's how you get clarity. You're so clear on what has to be done, what not have to be done.
True.
People don't, unfortunately, they tend to take the shelter of Krishna. They do other things and think that that will solve it, but that aggravates the problem. That brings more blurred, or make the situation more blurred instead of making it clear.
Yeah, I think, Prabhu, people are running. They don't sit quietly and share with themselves what's happening. So there's no clarity. So how will they get the right solution? It's like
Mm.
running after money, running after kids, like running after some desires. You need to sit and think what exactly you want. And yeah, I think true, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu, for a beautiful class. And yeah, I mean, like assuring whatever we read, Prabhu. Like really, these shlokas I've read like 100 times in last 10 to 15 years, and every time I'm like, okay, I got it this time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
every time I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
really, Prabhu,
Yeah.
it's like every 5 years, I feel I was licking the honey on the bottle, and this time I opened the lid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, every time I'm feeling that.
Very nice.
Yeah, since last 15 years, I think every 5 years I'm feeling that. Oh, last time I understood it, but on this time it's
Yeah.
better. So I think we should
Yeah.
keep reading, Prabhu,
Yes.
reading, and
Yeah.
it gets the understanding keeps going deeper, as you
Yeah.
said, Prabhu.
Absolutely.
But I don't know if even this janma or other janmas will be enough
I was
to
speaking to a
understand.
devotee. His name is Shubha Vilas Prabhu. I don't know if you know him.
Yes, Prabhu, I know him.
So he
What's his
was
official name, Prabhu?
uh,
Shubh Krishna?
no, Arvind something.
Hanji, I think I know.
Arvind something. He was a CEO at Tata Infotech. Then he was a brahmachari at
I
Radha
think I'm in a
Gopinath
group
temple.
where he is, and I don't know exactly, but I've met
Now
somebody.
Shubha Vilas Prabhu, he writes books, Mataji. So he's very famous, celebrity.
I think, Prabhu, I know.
You can Google him up. Shubha Vilas. He's like with Amazon. He's with Penguin Productions. He's got many big what do you call books publishings under his name. So you can just Google him up.
Yeah, Prabhu, Shubhilas
So
Prabhu books is coming.
so he's written
Oh,
very nice
Prabhu, he has
series on Ramayana.
audiobooks. I
Yeah,
was really
yeah,
looking for audiobooks, Prabhu,
yeah,
nowadays.
yeah.
Because I'm
So
unable to read. Okay.
2016, and
Oh,
I met him, and he was in Perth. He stayed with us for about a couple of weeks. He said the same thing. What was the point? मैं भूल गया क्या बोल रहे थे माताजी आप? वो क्या था point? The
what's
last
up?
point, what he said? Last point, what you said?
The deeper understanding, Prabhu? Or
No. कुछ और बोला था वो. What did you say at the end?
oh, I was telling Prabhu that how many births it will take. That one.
Birds for what?
How many births I don't know it will take to understand Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So what he said that the Bhagavad Gita, a proper understanding, an average understanding of what it is, you have to read Bhagavad Gita properly, like how we are studying 20 times.
Yes, Prabhu, I agree totally.
Yeah. Then you understand Bhagavad Gita. थोड़ा समझ में आएगा. ऐसा बोला उसने. थोड़ा समझ में आएगा.
How, Prabhu, for last 15 years I've
Very
been attending
nice.
so many classes reading the same Bhagavad Gita from different
Very intelligent person. Very deep person. So you
Vilas.
can imagine, I mean, being a CEO of a big company and giving up everything and coming to Krishna consciousness, there has to be something in him. So very he should talk like where the senior bosses, how they speak, he should speak like that. So very authoritative and very calm and very composed, but very down to earth, very humble. You just sleep on the floor, just sit back and just take a notepad and write on the floor. Like he was staying in one of the bedrooms, and he had to write a book. Actually, he was writing a book which would be published. So he didn't have a table and a thing. And so in the morning, I told him, Prabhu, you wanted to write, you could have taken that room. You told me, and I could have given you a study table to write everything and down and kept everything. So no, I managed. And he saw on the bed somehow he managed to write everything. सो भी गया उसके ऊपर सब करके एक ही छोटे से रूम में सारा बेड पे सब भी कर भी लिया उसने. So it's very humble devotee. So yeah, he told me it's 20 times Bhagavad Gita regularly. If you read it, then you'll have a proper understanding to apply that in life. Yeah, please keep reading and
Thank you,
chanting
Prabhu.
Mahamantra.
Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Most probably we'll have our kirtan on the first week of May.
Okay,
Oh,
Prabhu.
wow. Okay.
Saturday evening,
Yes,
Prabhu?
Kalpesh, so I can just I just organize. So that date sounds good to me.
6th of May.
Yes.
Nice.
6th of May is Saturday, right?
Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
We'll make some rules this time, okay, for 6th of May, because we'll start on time, and I'll make sure that the door is unlocked and nobody calls me before they come.
Yeah.
So we don't have any kind of disturbance at all, and we just start on time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have more kirtan.
Too late,
We'll
and
have
then
more kirtan.
once we start, don't want to get intoxicated and then again just lose everything just because people
I
want to
know.
leave or whatever.
I know. There was a man, बहुत पहले की बात है. To say, yeah, because he should like drinking, he should like drinking. And about 7 to 8 years ago, yeah. And he came to Krishna consciousness. He came to Krishna. So, लेकिन अभी वो दारू छूटा नहीं था उसका, वो पीता था. पीता था. तो he used to meet me. I used to go and meet him, but he was inclined towards Bhagavad Gita. Now he is in Canberra now. So, but he's gone back into slowly, into all the old mode. He still does some Krishna consciousness somehow. So at that time, he should talk to me and drink also. तो बैठ के सामने मेरे दारू पीता था और बात भी करता था, सब भगवत गीता ये सब बातें करता था. मेरे को अच्छा लगता है ऐसा. तो when there was something which we used to discuss, which got very deep, and he said, अरे क्या यार प्रभु चढ़ने नहीं दिया आपने.
प्रभु जी,
मेरे को याद आया वही बात कि मेरे को चढ़ने नहीं दिया, बीच में अटका दिया उसने. I was getting intoxicated, you disturbed me. Yeah, so yeah, I will try to get it. We'll have continuous kirtan this time.
Please,
So
no
that
disturbance. इसको और सब लोग को बोलेगा भाई खाना वाना खा के आओ, और जब कीर्तन खत्म होएगा ना तब खाना मिलेगा.
then we'll have prasad. Yeah.
वो अभी ना rule.
I agree to that, Prabhuji. I think that's right. We should finish kirtan and then have.
Yeah. Otherwise, it gets
That's the right
difficult
thing.
after.
Yes, Prabhu.
नहीं
After
होता
food,
प्रभु
na,
जी.
it's very difficult.
I
You feel
know.
sleepy.
एक तो बैठना difficult, उसके